a Playlyst original.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is BJ.
And my name is Mitu.
And this week, we're watching Agatha All Along on Disney+, Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy on Disney+, How to Die Alone on Hulu, and High Potential on ABC.
So stay tuned to the end to find out BJ's favorite Lego sets to put together.
Also, I just realized everything we're watching is Disney.
Yeah, I realized that as we were watching. I said, you better make money every which way. ABC, Hulu, Disney+. Just have your hand out toward me every time.
Well, speaking of every which way, how about you tell us about our favorite witch, Agatha Harkness?
Ooh, you're talking about Agatha All Along on Disney+, a sequel spinoff of WandaVision. Agatha, played by Katherine Hahn, following the events of that show, is on a quest to recover her powers and finds herself relying on unlikely allies to do so.
So, me too, I'm going to call you out.
Okay. Wow.
How much do you remember from WandaVision when you went into this pilot?
Did you wake up wanting to be ugly?
That is such a mean thing to say.
You wanted to be so ugly to me. Okay, I didn't remember anything from WandaVision. BJ is using my words against me when we were talking through this before we started recording. I did not remember any of the events of WandaVision. In my very easy defense, it has been years, and I did not understand the events of that Doctor Strange movie. Just fully was not following that film as it happened. And so this really picks up from after WandaVision and after that Doctor Strange movie. I didn't have a strong recall of WandaVision, which I loved. And I didn't have a strong recall of Doctor Strange because I didn't understand it. There was nothing to recall from my memory for that. And so I was confused for a lot of the beginning of Agatha All Along. But I really enjoyed it, especially once I was able to follow what was going on.
And that's why I brought it up, because this is a great example that whether or not you remember WandaVision, you can enjoy this. You really only need to know a little bit about what happened to Agatha in WandaVision to get a solid foundation of where the story is. Maybe also remember that WandaVision played around with different TV styles, different genres, different sitcoms, because in this pilot episode, they do that as well. It's made after a show within a show.
Yes, and I like that they still made it feel new. They didn't run that joke for too long. We got into more of the plot later, but they still made it feel fresh. And I was concerned going into this, I don't know why, is if it will feel too much like WandaVision or if we'll run this a little bit too far past it being interesting. Again, I'm not sure why I had that fear because apparently I remembered nothing, but they did successfully make it compelling and make it interesting, even as a continuation of an existing story. And I like that they had enough action at the end where you're excited to see where Agatha goes next.
For sure. And with that, they've set the breadcrumbs, a nice trail for new mysteries. We get 2 new characters, just a teen played by Joe Locke. We don't know anything about his background, and another character named Rio, played by Aubrey Plaza, who seems to have some history with Agatha.
Yes, such good chemistry. We don't have an idea yet of what is going on with Aubrey Plaza's character, but we are intrigued. I'm using the royal we very comfortably. If you watched this, you wanted to know what is going on between this agent and Agatha.
And I'll also mention, in this first episode, Agatha is still feeling the leftover bits of Wanda's magic, the spell that put everyone in the TV world. And it seems like this teen and Rio are aware of what's going on with Agatha and might know a lot more than they're letting on.
That's what's fun about this, is that everything is a mystery. Everything is a clue. I felt very similarly watching this as I did watching WandaVision, where I immediately went on the internet and was like, all right, nerds, tell me what Easter eggs I missed. And the nerds did not disappoint. It was like, this painting means this, and this thing moves, and you see it in the background of this scene. And so I love that the internet theory universe has already started and coming up with such interesting thoughts and predictions for the show. And because it is so mysterious, but not so mysterious that there's nowhere it can go, but just the right amount of mystery where you're excited for where it could possibly go. And so you have your own predictions for what that could be.
Yes, they have mastered the art of setting up all of these mysteries, keeping you curious. And this is something I've seen people say online from fans and even some reviewers. This feels like a TV show and not like a 4 to 6 hour movie broken up into episodes.
Yes, and they got great TV actors for it.
Yeah, it's a great cast. I like that they even brought back the WandaVision cast, all the people that lived in Westview.
I was very surprised to see them. I did recognize them.
See, you remembered more than you realized.
Okay, thank you. So, with that, do you want to watch more episodes of Agatha All Along on Disney+?
Of course, I will watch again. Seriously, I mean, I always give the Marvel Disney Plus shows a shot, but this one I do feel good about. I liked WandaVision, I liked Agatha as a character, and I really want to know more about this teen and where Agatha is planning to go. How do you feel?
I totally agree. Even if you're not a Marvel person, I think this one might be interesting for you. It's just really well acted. It reminds me of Miss Marvel, where you can be fully in this universe and understand the story and want to know more about this comic book character you enjoy, or see this different take on this comic book character, or you can be totally new to it, like I was for Miss Marvel, and now for Agatha as a character, and still enjoy the story. So I will watch again, seriously. I've already watched the second episode. And,
wow.
I've been all over the internet trying to read these fan theories. So I'm fully bought in.
Okay. Well, how about we move from one mega franchise to another one?
Why don't you tell us what happens in Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy on Disney+?
Sure. In this story, we're following Sig Griebling, voiced by Gaten Matarazzo, and he finds an ancient relic that can rewrite reality at will. So this young nerf herder has to seek out solutions to these changes and maybe even get the help of a long-lost Jedi.
Ooh.
So me too, you like Legos.
Yes.
You have seen Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
How did you think of this combo?
I like the Lego movies. I like the Lego takes on Batman. And I think there was one with Chris Pratt where he was something.
Yeah, just the Lego movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I liked that too. I like that they find the humor in these stories. And I like that Disney was willing to let them be pretty silly with this Star Wars property. And so I found myself laughing a lot. Even as someone who isn't as familiar with Star Wars, I could understand a bit of when they were making fun of themselves and mining the Star Wars universe for laughs, including confusing the Ewoks and what is the other thing?
Oh,
the Chewbacca's.
Whatever Chewbacca is, yeah.
Mixing those things up. There were jokes like that I thought were very funny, and I was glad that Disney was willing to let them get their jokes off.
Yes, this was very funny. The Lego movies are all funny, and it works well in this universe. I appreciated the quick little recap of some of the movies.
I didn't just appreciate that, I needed it. It was helpful.
That's another reason they threw that in there. And I like that we're seeing new characters. Sig and his brother Dev, voiced by Tony Revolori, are new characters, and I want to see where they go, because the cool thing with this whole concept of rebuilding the galaxy is that they're literally rebuilding everything, new lore, new backstories. It's not the Star Wars we've known before.
Yes. And we have some potential in their friend, Yessie, played by Marseille Martin. I'm very interested in how she plays in this alternative universe.
It's a strong cast. And I think they have a clever take on force powers, which allows someone to build things out of Lego.
That's true. And I like that even with the Lego take or the fun take on this, you still have the classic elements of these stories. So we have Sig understanding what the potential weight of having access to force powers is. There's a quote that he says in this episode: "The second you have powers and can do extraordinary things, people expect extraordinary things from you." So it's that classic, like, I'm very young and now I have all this pressure because of this ability that I didn't even like sign up for. And I wish I could give it away to these braver people that I know, but instead it's me. So, how will I like use this in this universe?
He's got to build his self-confidence.
Build.
And I bet all the Lego designers are building new sets based on every scene in this show.
Oh, yeah. You pointed that out to me and it made sense immediately. Like, they're just fully building merch right in front of us because there's like new ship formulations and the ways that they're introducing new characters. And to your point, the way that they're literally building and rebuilding the universe. All of those things feel like sets you can see for sale soon, if not already for sale.
And I wouldn't be surprised if some of those sets were designed before or in conjunction with this show.
Oh, 100%.
So with that, will you watch more episodes of Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy on Disney+?
I think if you're not a Star Wars person and if you're not a Legos person, I don't think this is going to be for you. For me, I like the Lego stories, so this is one I think I could watch while having lunch. It's just a really funny 20-minute show. And I happen to be partnered with someone who loves both Star Wars and Legos. You are also in my life. And so I think between the two of you, I will also have no choice but to watch more of this show, which is not a bad thing. I like it.
Yeah, you're starting to make it feel like a hostile environment. This is a fun place where I will watch the show casually. I do like Legos. I do like Star Wars. And it is a quick show, like you mentioned. So it's an easy watch. That's just a fun ride.
True.
So, Me Too, how about we go to a world that's a little less fun than Legos and deals with airports?
You're talking about How to Die Alone on Hulu, created by and starring Natasha Rothwell as Mel, a broke, fat, black JFK airport employee whose brush with death reminds her she's never been in love and has forgotten how to dream. So now she's learning how to get back to herself, or an even better version.
That summary reminded me how emotional and sad this show could be at times.
Yes, because none of these things on their own are sad. If you are a broke person, that's not
sad.
But it's not necessarily something that is automatically sad in a show.
Right.
Sometimes that character is played for laughs. If you are fat, I don't know. Sometimes people make fun of that, especially in like older media, but bodies are bodies. It just is what it is. Same thing with like if you are black, if you are an airport employee, but all of those things together in this person experiencing what feels like a midlife crisis, but at 35 years old, made for a much more emotional show that I thought. When I saw the trailers for the show and when I saw that it was created by Natasha Rothwell, I assumed it would be exclusively funny. But instead, it has this like really heart-wrenching note throughout the whole thing. There are scenes where I fully teared up watching, and she has this like brush with death kind of in this first episode that sets her into this motion, that sets her in motion trying to understand how she got to where she is, where she's unhappy with her life and how she wants to improve it. And it just made for a really emotional show. I don't know how many times I've used the word emotional, but it just was.
You get the feels. It is funny. There are definitely funny moments. When she's at work, I think is the highest concentration of the comedic scenes and elements. And when we see her personal life outside of work, you really feel for her because, like the title says, How to Die Alone, she is on that path and she does not want to be alone. So it's really hard to watch someone struggling with that loneliness and also not making decisions that could turn that around.
Yes, it is so uncomfortably chaotic watching the things that she chooses to do. And sometimes it is hard to watch, but as a testament to the writing and how much you root for Mel immediately upon meeting her on the show, you almost want to reach into the screen to be like, stop, do this a different way, say this differently, do this thing in this way that is just obviously better for you. And I feel like when something is that uncomfortable to watch, when your instinct, at least mine, is to like grin and bear it and sit through it, and you're like, oh, I just want to jump in there and fix things, versus like not watching it or fast forwarding it, it just shows this level of, at least for me, this interest, this deep interest and care I have for this character that I've only known for like 10 minutes.
Right. There's a lot of care you develop because I think it's directed, produced, or written well, or that combination of all those elements where Mel is presented with pretty simple choices throughout the whole episode. Do this, don't do this. Do this, don't do this. And it becomes obvious to us as the viewers which path will lead her closer to dying alone. And we see her not realizing that. And that's
Ease
tough.
on down the road in the wrong direction.
Every time.
I will say, to your point, there were great laughs at work, and especially because of the characters around her. We have her maybe crush, Terrence, played by Kaylin Darrell Jones. We have her best friend, Rory, played by Conrad Ricamora, who I saw in Oh Mary on Broadway. He was so good at it. And then we have her other not good crush in Alex, played by Jocko Sims.
Her ex, who's engaged.
Who is engaged. And yet she still seems to be... Can you hear how frustrated I am? Can you hear how frustrated I am? I just want to reach into the screen and like grab her by the shoulders and be like, let's go to like an empowerment lunch.
One of the reasons Me Too is feeling strongly is this episode opens with Mel being invited to her ex's wedding. She gets a save the date, finds out he went on a blind date, got engaged, and is now getting married.
Bananas! And she's considering it.
Strongly.
Yeah, strongly.
He reminds her about it as well.
Because they work together. Because they've chosen to both stay at that job. And in the same department. JFK Airport is real big.
And they still have some tension. I saw some flirting. From both sides.
When Terrence is right there.
Terrence is not getting the attention he deserves from Mel.
No.
And it's upsetting. I'm upset.
She's not grown up enough. Not yet.
Not yet. This is definitely a show about potential and whether or not Mel sees her own potential.
Do you want to keep watching How to Die Alone on Hulu to see if Mel is able to see her own potential for greatness?
I do want to keep watching casually. And honestly, I don't think she'll see her own potential in a season 1.
That hurts so much, but you're right. I know you're right in my gut. I know. I obviously will watch again seriously. I have been watching it. And I know in my heart of hearts that when that last season finale episode comes out, it's going to be like, especially if they get a season 2, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, something where she's going to make a great decision and then she's going to make a bad one. Or it'll end on a cliffhanger where it's like, do you want to be slapped in the face or have a cone of ice cream? Like, which is it, Mel?
Like,
And she'll be like, now which one makes sense for me?
How hard is the slap? And what flavor is the ice cream?
Mel. I'm rooting for you, though.
Someone needs to.
So, speaking of potential, Why don't you tell us about High Potential on ABC? High Potential on ABC.
Someone who's well aware of their potential and avoiding it?
100%.
This show follows Morgan, played by Caitlin Olsen, a single mom of 3 kids, and thanks to her exceptional mind, is able to help solve a crime as she rearranges evidence during her shift as a cleaner for the police department. So, Mitu, what did you think of this thriller, this crime-solving individual, this person with special talents that no one else has?
I am smiling from ear to ear. I loved this show. Monk Hive, Rise, Jessica Fletcher Hive, Murder, She Wrote Hive, Check In, Tap In, The Psych Folks. Come on, we have another one. I'm so excited about this show. This, more than anything we have seen, feels like it is lockstep in the legacy of these shows. Because I really love Elsbeth, but that one feels more like Columbo, where you know who did it at the beginning of the episode and you watch the cat and mouse between them and Elsbeth until the end of the episode when she catches them. And this one, we get to uncover the clues in real time with Morgan, who is an exceptionally observant and smart character, like a Jessica Fletcher, an Adrian Monk, a Sean from Psych. And so I love that we get to do that with this character, and I love their take on this character. And I like that the mystery they built in to both this case and the show overall, especially with the supporting cast, because a lot of the mystery is in her own home.
Yes, and that's going to keep us in it. We will have our case of the week. This time we're trying to figure out what happened to a woman who disappeared after her husband is murdered in their home. Very suspicious.
Yes.
And we learn that her oldest child, her daughter, her father disappeared. She doesn't think that the father would run away because she got pregnant. She thinks something happened. And so we got to figure that out. There's also all these relationships which they explore of the father of her 2 younger children. She has her neighbor who's a florist and is helping her out. And even everyone at the police department, there's some cool people that she's working with. We just got a lot of great stories and a lot of great supporting cast.
Yeah, I love that we have the legend Judy Reyes on this show, who is Lieutenant Selena, who hires her. And I love how personally motivated she is around the mystery of her daughter's father, because she knows that her daughter feels like an outsider because she is this exceptionally smart person. And it seems like her middle son is taking after her a bit. And we don't know yet what the baby will be like because the baby is a baby. And so this oldest daughter, who already has a different parent from her siblings, feels even more like an outsider when she doesn't think like her mom and her brother. So I'm sure that gives you even more motivation as Morgan to help fill out more of a story for Ava and give her a little bit more, potentially give her more people that feel like her around her in solving this mystery.
Yes. And you made me realize I didn't highlight what is so special about Morgan.
Oh, yes.
Like a Monk, like a Sherlock, she's very smart and she can solve puzzles. She has what she says an issue where if she sees a mistake, she has to fix it. And so with her high IQ, her excellent memory, she's got like a photographic memory. She watches documentaries and learns all of these things. Great at mental math.
And she doesn't sleep, she said. So she stays up all night for those documentaries.
She obsesses about fixing mistakes. And so when she sees crime scene photos, like little clues, she can immediately be like, that person is suspicious. That doesn't line up. Why was that over there? Why did they go there? To the benefit of the police department, but to her own detriment. Like, this is a burden on her sometimes.
Yes, it felt like such a Monk reference because often in Monk, people will tell him, wow, what an amazing gift you have. And he would always respond more of a curse. And a couple times in this episode, we hear people say to her, "What a gift." And she doesn't call it a curse because maybe that would be too much like Monk, but she does say it's not a gift. It's not something that I necessarily enjoy. And I feel like they play it pretty realistically. And you talked about this before we recorded, that maybe that's the difference between like an ABC versus a CBS, where they show that being this smart, being this unlike the people around you is probably difficult emotionally. It is difficult for you to socialize. It leads to strains in your relationships, which we see in her home life. And we saw that on Monk, where the main people who liked Monk were the like 4 people he worked with. And we're starting to see that a bit with Morgan.
Yeah, you can't be this smart and always be the fun, quirky one that people like to bring around to solve things. Like,
yes,
solving things is not something Morgan wants to do. It's something her brain just auto completes.
She calls it a compulsion.
Yeah. So I like that we see that negative side, and I like that we have a smart character with social skills.
Yes.
I'm thinking like Elementary on CBS, where Sherlock was very different when it came to interacting with people. And Morgan is too, but also she clearly can hold a regular conversation. She can do small talk.
And she can read the room. There's a reason she's choosing to work in a way where she's more isolated. She doesn't want to be around that many people. She understands the kind of vibe sometimes that she brings to the party, and she's very aware of it. And so that makes her pretty different from like a Sherlock or a Monk. I also thought that it was interesting how not naive she is. Like, there are things that she spots in this episode and accusations that she makes that wouldn't have immediately been made on a Monk, because he wouldn't have thought to assume someone was cheating or something like that.
And we also see the degree to which she's more focused on fixing the mistakes or solving the crime, where I will just say she probably understands the legal system and all the laws, but her priority this episode was solve the case.
Yes.
Whatever it takes.
Yes. She was like an edgy Jessica Fletcher, where she was like, no, I'm going to break into this office and steal this memo. Because I know this guy did it. So I know that this memo will resolve that. And then the cop was like, we obviously cannot use this in any capacity. You can't break into people's offices and just take stuff. So I thought that was funny. And I loved the surreal elements. Watching her put the pieces together with these like very surreal elements of her imagining how characters would have done things. It's almost played for laughs, or like this odd brightness that was a helpful juxtaposition for some against some of the heavier stuff in the show.
Yeah, some fun lightness. So Me Too, you've already mentioned how strongly this show hits what you're looking for. So can you give us your official rating of High Potential on ABC?
Would watch again, seriously. I was so sad to see that there were not new episodes of it, because it's fully an ABC show where you have to wait till it comes out, whatever, once a week. And so I wanted to watch more of it, and I couldn't. So if you are Mystery Hive, if you love a good mystery show like a Monk, a Psych, an Elementary, a Mentalist, you will really love this one.
Wow, this week you've gone above and beyond, and even tried to and couldn't with this show.
I tried to break the rules so bad. I just couldn't.
I also really love High Potential. I would watch again, seriously. This really just has that charm that Monk had, that it works. I don't know how else to describe it. It works really well.
It works. Shout out to High Potential. Also, I didn't mention this, but I love Caitlin Olsen. She's really great in a lot of stuff, and she's great in this as well.
I don't remember what you asked me at the top of the episode.
What are your favorite Lego sets to put together? Or maybe one that stands out when you were a kid?
Oh, I have no memory of that. What I can say is I have one Lego set now that a friend got me as a birthday gift. It is some of the Lego botanical line, so it's like little house plants that you build.
Oh, that's nice. Especially because you're a houseplant person.
Yeah, they're sitting next to my real plants.
Oh, that's lovely. What a thoughtful gift.
Do you have any Legos?
No, I just buy them
know.
for my nieces. Ooh, rude. Okay.
There's nothing wrong with you not owning Legos.
Okay. Where can people find more episodes of the Pilot Podcast that do or do not mention Legos?
All you have to do is go to our website at thepilotpodcast.com, and you can follow us on all of your favorite podcast platforms.
You can also follow us at The Pilot Pod on social media, and you can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations, because every other week we do a show recommended by you, our wonderful listeners, to askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Bye.